today is the beginning of enhancing the dream. You are dream enhancers.
Well, thank you for speaking to us, Miss Oprah Winfrey.
Theodore, I'm thrilled to speak to you, and you look so beautiful.
Yes. Well, here on ENCA, we want to welcome you to South Africa again, and clearly it's not the first time you reach these shores.
Back in 2002, the Queen of Talk, Oprah Winfrey, promised late icon Nelson Mandela that she'd build a school for girls.
We have the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy because I wanted a school that was a premier vision for this country. And I remember sitting down with the architects saying, well, where's the theater? I don't see a theater here. And then doing the dorm rooms, you know this story, Kate, and they're saying, well, I said, where's the room for the dressers? Where's the closet? And they would say, these are poor girls, ma'am. You don't understand, these are poor girls. I go, well, they will have some clothes, they will have some clothes, and they will need a closet. If they don't have clothes now, they will need a closet. So I remember saying to the architects, I want you all need to shift the paradigm here. I'm building the kind of school that you would want to send your daughters to. Your daughters.
Her vision was and is to create a safe space to educate, nurture, to empower the next generation of women leaders for South Africa, the African continent, and the world.
These girls, first of all, I chose the first two classes and, literally handpicked every girl. And every girl came with enormous amounts of intelligence and skill and resilience. And they did remarkably well in school in terms of academics. Because our school has, we kill that matric, y'all. We kill it. We kill that matric. So the intelligence and the ability and the skill level is not the issue. The reason I said mistakes is because the ultimate dream for me is to create leaders for the world who are whole people.
What is your purpose for this visit specifically?
Well, normally this is the first visit that I haven't focused exclusively on visiting my girls at the school. I'm here because we learned a big lesson at the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy, and that is that giving a premier education and allowing girls to step into the world and become the best of themselves actually begins with dealing with where they've come from and who they are and their identity. And for us at the Academy, that means girls who have come from challenged backgrounds, who have limited resources, but who have the brain power, the willpower, and the resilience to do excellent things in the world. So I started to learn after a couple of really weeks and then years of girls going through anxiety and depression and having all kinds of issues, that those issues, in spite of having the best facilities and the best opportunity to excel in education, wasn't enough if you're not willing to look at where they've come from and to address the trauma. So we have since become a trauma-informed school.
It hasn't been a smooth journey for the Academy. In the years following its start, the school was rocked by allegations of sexual abuse.
How did you experience our work with trauma here? Because you speak very well and you use those techniques. So how did you learn those?
So the first thing I want to say is we were always a trauma-aware school. From the inception of the school, we knew the girls coming in, all of us had trauma, and we knew it as well. We're like, our sisters have stuff that they carry. But I think we started to become trauma-informed during our wellness week. So I think it was 2014, 2015 when we had a wellness week, a whole week. And Mom O was there, and she had brought with her Iana van Zandt. And Iana focused on what's the thorn that's there, what is it that still makes you cry? And so we sat in a circle, and that's literally what we did, we cried. And then we moved on to our next session with Dr. Blaise Zaguri, and he said, feel those feelings, be mindful.
When I was interviewing Dr. Bruce Perry, who is the leading child trauma therapist in the United States, his theory of the neurosequential model for the brain means that oftentimes when somebody is doing something that we feel is inappropriate, and particularly in schools when kids are acting up, young boys especially.
Yeah.
You weren't one of those little boys, I know that.
I was a good behavior.
You were a good behavior. But when the bad boys were acting up,
Yes.
the teachers would always say, "What's wrong with that boy? What's wrong with this child? What's wrong?" And the question that teachers and educators should be asking is not what's wrong, but what's happened. What's happened? Because every child comes with their own story.
Yeah.
And depending on what that story is, that story determines the behavior.
Well, I'm not sure if people can notice already or see it or sense it, but I'm very like a loud person. So I was that kid that was just energetic, you know. I was in the drama class, in the dance classes. I was just in everybody's face, you know. So because of that, and I was also part of the wellness committee, and I mean, I'm not really a content person, and that doesn't make sense because my degree right now is content-based. But anyway, I don't really like content. And the first time when we were approaching NM, it was like, you know, through presentations, like slideshows, and we're sitting there reading and reading. But then because of wellness, and we're sitting as students, we're like, but if I'm not getting it, and this information is not going through my own brain, then I'm pretty sure the other person next to me is feeling the same way. So as a wellness committee, we're trying to like come up with skits or like different role plays and situations and stuff just to try and make the inner work more relatable, as if like, oh, so in a situation like this, when she's tapping her pen, that's how she's regulating, and not just going through the whole, I don't know, the content of it and the science of what you're doing.
Coming up, we continue to be up close and personal with the Queen of Talk, Oprah Winfrey. And we get a taste of the good old Oprah Winfrey Show.
I'm going to play the Oprah show. Deal.
Stay tuned as Up Close with Theodore continues after the break.
For me, there is no life without a full emotional, spiritual wholeness that allows you to lead from the strength of yourself and not from all the broken pieces of yourself. And what we now know is, Theodore, that if you're raised in chaos, in loud music, poverty itself is a traumatic event in everybody's life. If you're raised where you don't get the support and nurturing that you need, your brain doesn't form the same as other people's brains.
Yeah.
And so you have an adverse reaction to, you know, stillness or people trying to discipline you or other things. So we have become a trauma-informed school because for me, the most important thing is that girls certainly graduate with great academics, but they graduate as whole people.
Yeah.
So that's what we're after.
Yeah.
The whole person.
And can we talk about the reach? Because you spoke about the fact that everything that we do can touch the next person, and that's how you can reach. Because some people don't have the facilities to have like people coming in and counseling them and helping them.
But this is what I want to say. I would
Yeah.
say that one question, when I was interviewing Dr. Perry, and he said, what people should be asking when you see something that's inappropriate is not what's wrong with that person, but what happened to them.
Yes.
I think that actually shifted for me, Theodore, the way I look at everything in my life. So when I see somebody behaving in a way that feels abnormal or crazy, I don't say, what's wrong with him? I say, I wonder what happened. I wonder what happened. What happened to cause you to be this way? So, and when you talk about the reach, this is what I want to say. We just heard former alumni of our school, those girls were beautiful, presentation, talking about how the teachers at our school, even though they'd lost a mother, one of the girls had lost her mother at 3 years old and had a father who was an alcoholic, but that she was in an environment where the teacher and even the res mom reached out to her and showed her love and affection. So everybody has the ability to make somebody else feel like they are seen and to feel like they matter. And do you know, Theodore, that in the 25 years of the Oprah Show, that is the one lesson that I learned that carries across every generation, every nation. Every time I would do an interview, at the end of the interview, somebody would say, "How was that?"
Yeah.
I'm telling you, when I interviewed Beyonce at the end, Beyonce taught me how to twerk, y'all. And at the end of the interview, she said, she handed me the mic and she said, "Was that okay?" When I interviewed President Obama, who wasn't even the president at the time, when he finished the interview, he goes, "Is that all right? Is that okay? Is that okay?"
Yes.
When I interviewed someone who had murdered 2 of their twin daughters, at the end of the interview, he said, "Was that okay? Was that okay?" So what I started to see is that in every interview, at the end of the interview, everybody wanted to know, was that okay? But what they were really saying is, did you hear me?
Did you see me?
Did you see me?
Yes.
And did what I say matter?
Yes.
That's what everybody is looking for.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Did you hear me?
Did you see me? And did what did I say,
Everybody
ma'am?
wants to be seen.
Everybody wants to be really seen, not just looking at your beautiful outfit, but I want to look into your eyes and I want to be able to feel and see your soul. So that is what we are doing at our school, is allowing the girls to be seen in a way that we understand their trauma and teach to the trauma.
So I'm curious from you all, what is it that you heard here today? Because this is what I know in all the years that I was doing the show. I could always tell when a guest or somebody in the audience or even I had said something that resonated, because you could feel it. You could feel that whatever it is you're saying actually makes sense. And I believe that you must have heard something that made sense here that has kept you in the seat, and it's almost 4 o'clock. So I would just like to hear from a couple of you, what is it that you heard that resonated with you? I'm going to play the Oprah show deal. Come down in the audience like the old days and see what resonated. What is it that you heard? I want to know. Stand up.
Thank you, Oprah. I heard that each person that you speak to or reach out to is your legacy, and you left that legacy with me and changed my life, so I know it.
What did you hear? Did you raise your hand? Yes, ma'am.
That there is nothing wrong with anybody. Something happened to everyone.
That's perfect. If you only leave with that, that is the most perfect. Yes, sir.
Is that you are not responsible for your traumas, but you are responsible for your healing.
Love that. Anybody else? Let's hear it. Yes.
Once you heal yourself, then you can also start healing others, and you're responsible for your healing. And it's your choice how to react and respond to your trauma that you've experienced. And trauma can all bond us together. And I have read the book, and what really resonated for me was, you haven't said it in the book, but the concept of Ubuntu. It was very clear that connected nature of humanity, and that we all need each other. We can't live in isolation. So thank you.
Perfect. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes, ma'am. What do you want to say?
God. Guys, oh my God. I was born on the 28th of January, 1984. I dreamt of you last week, Thursday, that I was going to meet you. I didn't even know that you were coming. My best friend called me. Oh my God. I'm inspired. Thank you for my dream and for the manifestation. You are on my vision board. I'm so grateful and I'm so honored. Oh my God. Can I please hug you? Oh my God, I'm touching
you. So in the beginning, you know, our classes were like 40, 45 minutes long.
Yes.
We don't have 45 minutes classes anymore, because who wants to sit through 45 minutes? You want to give a great 20, 25 minutes.
Yes.
You want to have, in between classes, an opportunity for girls to stand up, girls to walk around, girls to squeeze their squeegee balls, girls to breathe, so that you can continue to take in the information.
Yeah.
So a trauma-informed way of looking at someone's life is being able to see who they are and what happened to you. Yes, to see them, to hear them, and to allow them to know that what you say mattered to me.
That really touched me.
Coming up, we go down memory lane as Oprah Winfrey relates a powerful meeting with Nelson Mandela.
Madiba said, "Stay at my house in Kunu." And
yes.
I stayed at his house in Kunu for 10 days, and we had 29 meals together.
Wow.
Stay tuned as the ENCA Oprah Winfrey exclusive continues.
I understood what it was like to be born in a rural area, being raised by a grandmother, no running water, no electricity, and I understood what it is to have a dream for yourself and an idea for yourself and not have the means to do that. I remember very vividly my grandmother washing clothes in the big iron pot and pulling them out in the steam and hanging the clothes on the line and saying to me, "Oh, Gail, you better watch me now, because one day you're going to have to learn how to do this for yourself." And inside my spirit, I could feel that that was not going to be my life.
After all the controversy, Oprah Winfrey says there were lessons learned to provide a better future for the learners.
And later had enormous psychological bills with a lot of the girls. So the reason we are where we are today is because I learned from the mistakes. That when you open the door, and I think it's wonderful when people want to, write checks for education. I've done it for years. But when you are dealing with any group of people who have come from enormous amounts of trauma, you have to start at the baseline of beginning to address that trauma first.
It's always daunting when you get them, but we know how much potential they've got. We know because we do home visits to each and every student that we take at OLAG. In 9 provinces, we get our students, and we do through social workers. They visit every home before we can accept them. But the journey at OLAG has been for us to address trauma so that they can learn better. You might have seen I do this and then this. Learning happens through the brain until the parts of the brain can really function properly by addressing trauma. Then the learner can learn. So this means the brain is open for learning. This means it's shut for learning. No matter what you do, we can't get them to get to university. But as OLAG, we've learned the trade of understanding trauma so that they can learn better.
After all is said and done, Oprah and Tata Madiba's legacies prevail.
Look, it was life-changing. From the moment that I walked in, like I said, I knew that I needed to be there, and it was, I want to say it was like this cathartic experience. You come in with all these experiences, and like we spoke about this trauma, and it's not easy work, the healing part of it, and you kind of go out like a butterfly, ready to face the world with all the skills that the school has equipped you with. It's not a school, it's a village, it's a family, it's a home.
For me, it was totally different from back in primary school, because in primary school it was, looking at the races, I guess, it was different because it was like probably 70% like whites back in primary school. And then when I got to OLAG, I was like seeing like more black kids, and that's how the whole story of connecting our stories and connecting with each other, that's where the whole sisterhood and everything started. So that was my experience, is the sisterhood.
I wanted to create an environment for girls that would allow them to thrive and become South Africa's greatest leaders. Now, the reason Bruce Perry became involved is the very first week of school. First of all, let me tell you that in the meeting with the architects in the beginning, so I had this dream for school. At first, when Madiba said, "How much money do you want to spend?" I said, probably $10 million. He said, "You can build 5 schools for that." And I said, "No, I just want to build 1 school."
Lastly, Nelson Mandela.
Oh.
We know that this is Nelson Mandela month. I can't leave you without asking you about, it was just his birthday last week.
Yes.
What did you do? How did you celebrate his birthday?
Well, I celebrated by coming here. I celebrated by coming to South Africa. I cannot be in this country without thinking about him and the impact that he had on my life. One of the greatest times I've had in my life is when I first came to South Africa in 2002. Madiba said, "Stay at my house in Kunu." And I was staying at his house in Kunu for 10 days, and we had 29 meals together.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Breakfast and dinner every single day that I was there.
Yes.
And so the wisdom that he imparted to me, the love that he and Graça Michelle shared with me, the generosity of spirit, is one of the reasons I wanted to build this school. Because when you finish staying at Nelson Mandela's house, you can't give him a candle.
No, you can't.
You can't just send flowers.
Definitely not.
No, so I
Yes.
built a school. So I miss him. But one of the things that I feel, particularly when I come to the country, is the spirit of him. I think the spirit of his courage, the spirit of his vision for a better South Africa continues as I continue with the school. I think he would be so proud of what we've done.
It definitely does. I mean, it's continuing with me now. It's continuing right now with your school.
Yes.
And we all love Nelson Mandela even today.
Yes.
And we love you, Oprah. And thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Oprah Winfrey, all right here on ENCA exclusively.